All right, you good?
Yeah.
Welcome, Kat Brunner. Thank you so much for joining us at the conference. What an important and special day as we focus on self-care. And I know we've been talking about self-care and the importance of self-care, and you've had quite a journey. I know we've known each other for some time, and coming now, your website catbwellnessoffers.com offers such an amazing amount of information about attuning to the mind and body and really having respect for our body and being focused on our bodies in terms of helping our wellness.
Yes. Yeah. Um, so I'm a fitness trainer here. I live in New York City, but I grew up in Pennsylvania, right by Bluebell. I grew up in Willow Grove. And as a performer, I learned really early on how important our bodies are, um, in regards to, what we're fueling ourselves with, what we're doing like for our muscles in regards to recovery, but also, strengthening, preventative care, things like that. Um, and especially over this past year, I think fitness has played a huge role in my mental health. And I see that in like my clients as well. Like they'll come in and be in a, maybe not so good mood, or, thinking about the things that are going on. And fitness is kind of a meditation for a lot of my clients at this point. They're able to kind of let go of things, and, it's almost, I look at it as like a form of healing, you know?
So I also appreciated you mentioning preventative care in terms of when we talk about self-care, how important it is to really respect our bodies before we start to hurt, before we feel those aches and pains.
Yeah, exactly. So what we focus on, and I work specifically with a lot of women. And what I'm noticing over this past year is, a lot of times if we're sitting on Zoom, we'll sit like this and our back will be hunched over. We're putting a lot of strain on our neck and our back, our lats, our traps, and then our chest is caving in. So our posture is coming like this. And um, I know for me, like even sitting here and doing this, I start to feel it in my back. And I'm like, oh, like I have to remind myself to put the shoulders back,
Oh my gosh.
down the
Yes.
spine. Yeah. And I'm noticing a lot of clients coming in, they're expressing a lot of back pain throughout the day, and I think it's easy sometimes to forget, especially if we're typing or in a meeting, or, just kind of like going about our day-to-day lives. It's easy to forget. So
So it's that awareness, really the awareness of what's happening to our body just in the normal routine of sitting in a spot from
yeah,
one place for such long periods of time.
yeah, exactly. Because normally we're not really meant to be sitting all hours
Mm.
of the day. And so I think, I'm seeing a lot of clients coming in. They're talking about back pain, but also their back and their chest are a lot weaker than they were pre-pandemic. Because,
Mm.
we can't go out and do things as much. So by sitting like this, it's kind of like wearing and tearing at the muscles, believe it or not. So, there's a lot of things we can do in regards to strengthening the chest and the back, and, really taking care of that posture.
So, in terms of self care and understanding, now we have a connection to what our bodies may need and try to respect that. When you work with your clients in terms of helping them in a situation, again, this is really speaking to me directly because I do sit in my chair for long periods of time.
Yeah.
And so, in terms of different simple types of techniques and simple things that someone is that it might be trapped in a certain spot or sitting up in a certain position, different things that we can help in terms of that part of our body.
Yeah. So my favorite to do, and you can do it right in your chair, right where you are. So you sit here, chest back, chest is open. You're going to twist to the side and grab a hold of one knee, palm to the knee, and you're going to twist and look over your shoulder. Ooh, my back just popped. So that's telling me that things were kind of out of line, right? So looking over your shoulder, twisting, keep breathing, and then back to the center. And then to the other side, palm to your knee, kind of using that knee as an anchor as you twist, looking over the opposite shoulder, and then back to the center.
Oh boy, I felt that. Yeah.
I think I heard your back pop.
Yes, right in the middle of my back. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it feels so nice. And another thing that I love to do, I do this at the end of every class I teach. So I'll do a nice inhale up, elbows wide, and you want to take those elbows and reach them back so you can feel the stretch in those pectoral muscles right here. Yeah, and as you're here, just taking the head to the side. So feeling that, you should feel that stretch down the side of the neck. And then other side. Good. And as you're doing this, continuing to bring your elbows back. And then we're going to take our head down. So chin to your chest, feeling the stretch along the back of your neck. And then you're going to look back at the ceiling. Nice and gentle here. Nothing too crazy here. Just looking up towards the ceiling and then back to the center. And
Wow.
shoulders. Doesn't that feel good?
Yes, that's amazing. So if I
Yeah.
go through those moves, how many different times should I do that? Do I hold one, or do I do sets of two or three, or when I stretch, what do you recommend for that?
So I would say for the twist here for the back, doing it 2 to 3 times on each side. So we just did one set, and then doing that another time here as things get a little bit looser, the more you do it, you can get even deeper into that stretch. For this right here, just once is fine. It's all about just like lengthening those muscles, as we stretch here, creating that space in the chest, because like I said before, we're kind of concaving here and bringing it down. So we want to think, just being mindful of that chest staying back, and just lengthening those muscles.
And I also appreciate you reminding me to still keep breathing, because
Yeah,
I found when I was twisting, I found that I wasn't breathing naturally, and by breathing naturally, I felt more connected there.
yeah, like in through the nose, out through the mouth. I'm sure, like, probably meditation comes into this as well, and I'm sure that throughout this conference, meditation is a big part of it. So keeping those skills in mind too when you're stretching, because holding your breath doesn't really do you any good.
Mm. And so
And
how often during the day? So for me, I tend to get maybe on here first thing in the morning, 8:30 in the morning, and I'm some days not off of Zoom until 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. How often should I be taking these kind of stretch breaks?
yeah, so that's a long work day, like 8 to 3 to 4. That's a lot. So for you, I would say probably 3 times, like once before you start. It's also a great grounding moment as well, almost like a meditation here as
Mm.
you're stretching. And then midday, lunch break, and then at the end of your day as you finish. And something that helps me, and I know helps my clients as well, is literally putting it into your planner or your calendar,
Mm.
moments to stretch or move, because as our days get busier and we're trying to do a million things, especially if you're working from home, if you're a mom, taking care of kids who are on like virtual learning as well, like we get so distracted and then we forget about ourselves. So
Mm.
I know for me also, like, I live by my planner, so when I pencil things in, it always gets done.
And
So
I
it's a good,
appreciate that. And I also feel like it would hold me accountable as well, as I'm
yeah,
trying to keep up on a daily or however many times during the day. It would hold me accountable because I know, as we talked earlier, introducing these techniques can be one thing, but for people to actually understand the value of making commitments to integrating them throughout the day and how important it is to take that 1 minute. I mean, it didn't take us that long to
no,
really attune to our bodies and do some of that preventative care
yeah,
in the hopes that it helps out. And I will, quite frankly, as I'm learning more of these, I'm finding that I'm integrating more. And by the middle of the afternoon, it is a rather long day, but I'm not as cranky, I'm not as irritable. And
yeah,
so if I'm doing it from first thing in the morning, by the afternoon, I can feel some of that benefits already. And then if I'm not as intentional, I feel it, my body then tends to feel that tension.
yeah, 100%. And I think we all, even as like healthcare professionals or, being in the wellness world, it's easy to sometimes we don't always practice what we preach, and I see that as a trainer. Like, I'm like, okay, you got to be stretching and doing all these things, and then I'll come home and I'll just want to sit on the couch. That's the easy thing to do. But really taking care of your body as a way of preventative care, so that 10 years down the line, I'm not like having a harder time moving. I think that it's so important to do it now and take that time for yourself, and you'll thank yourself later. you know
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank
Kat Brunner. It was great having this conversation around self care. CatBWellness.com. We will see you soon. Thank you.
thank you.